Well, Michelle, Nathan, this started with a carjacking at the shops at Don Mills, and then police attempted to block the vehicles on the Gardiner Expressway here near Parliament. And that's when one of the drivers attempted to flee police and fell from the Gardiner and was seriously injured, which led to the province's police watchdog invoking its mandate. And just now we're getting an update from the SIU. Let's listen in.
I'm a spokesperson with the Special Investigations Unit. The Special Investigations Unit is investigating after a man was seriously injured last night in the area of the Gardiner and Parliament. Initially, preliminary information suggests that there was a call about a carjacking in the area of the shops at Don Mills. This was in Don Mills, and that involved a carjacking of a Rolls Royce. There was also a white BMW that was involved in this carjacking. Those vehicles were tracked by Toronto Police eventually to the area of the Gardiner and Parliament. There was a roadblock that was initiated involving about 8 marked and unmarked Toronto Police vehicles. That BMW was boxed in, and then there was the driver, the sole occupant of that BMW, that exited that BMW and ended up fleeing and going off the Gardiner at Parliament. He fell about 17 meters to lakeshore below, and he suffered serious injuries, non-life-threatening. He's at St. Mike's getting treatment. There was the Rolls Royce. We don't have information on that other than that it fled the scene. I understand that it may have been stopped at another location. I just want to be clear, though, the focus of the SIU investigation is the serious injury of the man who was fleeing police. And like I said, he's in hospital being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. If anyone has any questions, I'll take them.
Can you talk about, so the carjacking of the Rolls Royce happened in the Don Mills Lawrence area. Would this be considered like a police pursuit, or a police chase, like a high-speed chase, or do you know if police were just following him? Was a chopper used to help track suspects?
Initial information I have is that Toronto Police utilized the assistance of York Police in their chopper, and they were tracking the vehicles until they ended up trying to execute a roadblock on the Gardiner, like I said.
Was there high rates of speed on the Don Valley and Gardiner? Do you know if that's...
I don't have information about rates of speed. All I know is that there was some tracking involved, and then they ended up on the Gardiner near Parliament, and that's when the man fled.
So not necessarily a pursuit on the ground, but a chopper being used to track it until that road.
Correct, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Where was the road going?
This was on the Gardiner around Parliament Street.
Do you know the age of the suspect or the person who's now in hospital getting treatment?
Early information we received that we don't have an ID just yet. So I don't have information on age or anything like that, other than that a man was involved.
So over the age of 18, he's not a teenager?
Correct, yes.
Do you have any update on only one in the BMW or other people in the BMW with him?
The early information I have is that the man who fled from the BMW was the only occupant in that vehicle, and there were a number of other people in the Rolls Royce that fled the scene.
Do you believe, Chris, here, the SIU, that the BMW was also stolen, or was it just the Rolls Royce?
I don't have information if the BMW was stolen. I do understand that it didn't have license plates, but really, it didn't have license plates in the BMW. So, I mean, I can assume it was stolen, but I really don't have that information to confirm.
But not necessarily at that location, could have been prior.
Correct, yeah. So the information I have is that there was the carjacking at Don Mills, and then that's when the Rolls Royce was stolen, and then there were other people involved who were in the BMW as well. So the BMW was involved, and then the Rolls Royce was stolen from that area. I don't have information about it again. So to be clear, the SIU's involvement really is because there's the serious injury involving the person who was fleeing
And you're
police.
just listening to an update from the province's police watchdog, the SIU, which has invoked its mandate after an armed carjacking that occurred around 11 last night at the shops at Don Mills that led to a pursuit of the suspects down here to downtown in the Gardiner and Parliament area, which involved a police blockade. And the driver of one of the suspects involved in this carjacking was driving a BMW. He attempted to flee police and fell off the Gardiner, suffering serious injuries. Here's more on that. Multiple unmarked police vehicles surround a BMW on the Gardiner Expressway that was involved in a carjacking last night. The driver attempted to flee police on foot and fell from the elevated Gardiner to Lakeshore Boulevard below. He was arrested and taken to hospital for serious injuries, according to the province's Special Investigations Unit, which has now invoked its mandate.
And I looked out, and both the west and east were shut down, and there were police. It looked like a circus.
It all started after 11 Monday night when a Rolls-Royce was stolen at the shops at Don Mills in an armed carjacking. The SIU says the suspects took off in the Rolls-Royce and BMW. Police attempted to box in the vehicles on the Gardiner. The Rolls-Royce and other suspects managed to get away. At this point, it's not clear how many suspects were involved. There's also no word on charges for the driver of the BMW. A stretch of the southbound DVP and Gardiner were closed while both police and the SIU investigated, and crews towed away the BMW and damaged police vehicles. Both highways have since reopened. Now, the SIU has assigned 3 investigators and 1 forensic investigator to its case. At this point, we still have no updates from Toronto police on the other suspects involved in this carjacking. The SIU right now is appealing for more witnesses. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker, Nathan and Michelle. Back to you.
Thank you, Mike.